Hey guys, welcome to Cosplay Togs and all things nerdy. We're back again for another episode. This time we are joined by some of the lovely team members of Pickvita. And we're going to be discussing about their upcoming event and all about Pickvita. So I will let you guys introduce yourself. Obviously, give us your name, your handle, and a brief overview of who you are and sort of your roles at Pickvita. Anybody?
Okay. Hi, I'm Julie. I'm glad to be back here. So thanks for having us again. I'm a Swiss cosplayer and organizer of Picvetia since its beginning in 2023, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Very nice. Who's
I
next?
mean, okay, I'm next. Hi, I'm Romalie. I'm a photographer mainly right now. Before I was a cosplayer since like 20 years or more, and now I take photos since about 9 years. Yeah, and I founded Picvetia.
And I am Ailita. I'm a cosplayer and a photographer. I do not remember when I started. However, I have been in the Pickvetia team as well from the beginning. So I'm part of the team members from the start.
Very nice.
Okay, so a brief overview of what we're going to talk about in this episode. So for anyone kind of new to this, we're kind of going to talk a little bit about European photocons, kind of how the guys over at Pickvita came up with Pickvita first of all, and kind of how things have evolved over time. Sort of try to get behind the scenes a little bit with you guys, as much as you're willing to tell us about sort of the sort of behind the scenes, the background of how you go through the application process, how do you choose people, to the point of how do you choose locations and blah blah blah. So we'll get into that in more detail as we go through, and like really kind of just nitpick at kind of you guys and kind of put the spotlight on Big Vita and kind of
let people try and get a sense of what goes on behind the scenes, the things that go on that they don't see, all the hard work that you guys put in over months and months of organizing, finding locations, selecting people to attend, etc. Just to try and give a little bit of insight for anyone that might be interested in attending in the future, or for any of those that are attending maybe this year for the first time. I think it'd be really great to hear, as like Tom said, as much as you're willing to share. Don't want to spoil things too much but we're like, I'm sure some people like some surprises. But yeah, so Romy, how did this all start?
So how did it all start? um, I visited I think one photocon. It was in Italy, and I really liked the concept. And then I thought for myself, yeah, I mean, I know so many locations in Switzerland already, so why not do something like this as well in Switzerland? Because I'm really into looking or scouting locations. And so, yeah, it was kind of, maybe I just had a bit of free time and I wasn't stressed so much as usually. So I thought, yeah, let's do something complicated. Let's do something big. So I just started to look for members and found those lovely members. Yeah, and so we tried to make our first edition. It was in the German part of Switzerland. We had like, I don't know, 8 months, 7 months, not sure. At least not that much time.
Less.
So, yeah, maybe less.
It was a short one.
Yeah. I think it was like you contacted us in November and the first edition was in May. Like
True.
middle of May, so
Yeah. that's
Yeah.
how we started. So first off, of course, we wanted some locations which are impressive, interesting, unusual. For example, a church. And yeah, that's how we started to look for them. And I mean, for nature, it was pretty easy. We have a lot of nice nature in Switzerland. I already knew a lot of places, but then when it came about, when it was about the indoor location, it was pretty difficult because um, first, just to find them, understanding where you have to look for them, then get prices for them, and usually you would be like, oh my god, it's so expensive. We don't know if we can afford it because we don't know how many participants there will be. So that was also a difficulty. Yeah, and in the end, we were really lucky to find a church who was willing to let us in and renting it us to a decent price. I say, yeah, it was. We were lucky, but it was one location, one indoor location, and we tried to find more, and the only thing we found was a bar. It was an interesting small bar, but it was super expensive, so we had it only for one day. Yeah, and that was our limit. We couldn't take more because everything else we found was so damn expensive. There was no way we could afford it.
And if I may add something, the problem with the first edition, especially, is that we hadn't have any clue of how many people would apply and how many people we could accept. So we're like, okay, there's this location that costs like I don't know, 3,000 francs. We don't know if we are gonna have enough money to afford that. And if I'm not mistaken, it's all Romina who put the money. Who could she paid in advance because we had to choose the locations beforehand.
Yeah.
And we didn't know how at the end we could reimburse everything, so it was we calculated that well. So but that's another difficulty for the first edition too, because you don't have any predictions about how it can work out, how things can work out in the end.
Yeah, I know
Just so
that
you
feeling.
know, I didn't pay it in advance.
No, you didn't
I
pay in
never paid
advance.
anything. No.
I'm here spreading lies on the internet. Look at me. I'm so sorry. I was certain it was the case. I am so sorry.
But maybe it was more like a guarantee. So
Yeah, but
in
yeah,
case,
I remember
yeah.
you paying some stuff at
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah, I know
my
that
mistake.
feeling very well. When we first started, myself and my friends first started SecretCon here in the UK in 2021. We first had the idea in sort of like June, July time, and we put our first event on in the October. We again, like yourselves, we had to find a location. We paid the venue up front, and we had no idea how many people were going to buy tickets and attend. It was a complete gamble. It was all, all of our own money. And like over there, over here in the UK, venues and locations are not cheap. Trying to find reasonable price ones are, it's very, very difficult. And I can imagine it's the same kind of experience over there. So yeah, totally know how you totally understand how you feel, and how difficult it must have been for you guys, and the stress as well, I can imagine.
Yes, the not knowing, I think that every time the factor is like, I hope people enjoy this. For me, it's the most important part is like, I don't want to disappoint people, because people are planning a whole trip. They're taking vacations, vacation days of work. They're preparing costumes. They're preparing material. They have they expect things from this weekend. So
Yeah.
at the least we can do is it's make them have a great weekend, like that everything works out well for them.
Yeah.
Excellent. So how did you handle the application process for the first event? Was that similar to how it is now, or has it changed and evolved over the years?
I wouldn't say we changed too much over the years. I think maybe we became more efficient with it.
Yes.
The first one I do remember, we were all talking and we were just watching if people would just apply, and that would be such a drill. Like you see the names piling, and you just finally it's just hoping it's gonna go up and up.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
And, well, and then you think, okay, well, we have to judge all of those people afterwards too, which makes it a bit of a stress. But I don't think we changed too much. We maybe became a bit more precise,
yes, yeah,
but the overall we stayed pretty. We did stick to the same principles we had from the start because we have
excellent.
experience in photography in cosplay. We went to a photography event, so we knew more or less what people are looking for in both sides.
Yeah, I think what we
Excellent.
changed is the behind the scenes. So how we manage the whole process, how we go through, how we make lists, and how we just more efficient.
Yes, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
That was the first one. We spent more time having to go and review all of them because Romina came together with a fabulous system that automated every application to a form, making life of everyone just so much easier because
Wow.
the
So,
first we did
so much better.
so
So
much better.
better. Yes.
I do remember we spent days going through all the applications, and because you want to give everyone the same chance, you do have
Mhm.
to put all of the pictures and go. Yeah, Romina did us a massive favor this year, especially because we
Yeah.
had the amount of application. The change was spectacular.
And I enjoyed programming it.
But we use since the first year we use the same grid with like the evaluation
Yeah,
grids. It's the same, like it's
nice,
the one we have on the site. So it we try to stay as true to ourselves.
excellent. So, how many applications did you guys get for your first event?
I don't recall the exact numbers. Do you get? I can go and check. I put that on the Instagram the other day.
That's all right. It's not a massive stress question. But I'm guessing it was, I mean, I've seen Pickvita grow and grow in popularity over the last few years. I mean, I only really attended my first European Photocon back in 2024, which was Volta. I'd kind of heard of them before that, kind of about a year or so before that, um, but never really thought about applying for one until then. Attended my first one, had an absolutely amazing time, met so many fantastic people, and then I started to look into sort of more and more of them. Um, and one of the ones that I came across when I was researching was your event. Um, and just everything I read about it was great things. Um, Switzerland is somewhere that I'd always wanted to go as well, so I applied myself and was very lucky to be able to attend last year. God, it feels really weird saying that now. Last year, um, and yeah, had an absolute blast. It was fantastic. Um, it was incredibly well organized, particularly from the whole process, really from start to finish. From a photographer's perspective, I felt was incredibly well organized. So right from the application and the selection process, right through to the communication from you guys in terms of asking people to hold off before booking shoots, and which gave people a chance to look around at who was going and the locations, and yeah, it was fantastic. But I've really seen you guys grow from strength to strength over the time that I've been sort of following you. And then obviously the application for this year. And I remember you guys saying that you just had so many more applications this year that you'd just grown even further than you could possibly imagine. So when you
I
first
have the
started it,
numbers.
Oh, okay, yeah, go.
Sorry. So the first
No.
edition, it was 152
Wow.
applications. The
Applications.
second year, it was 321. And for this year, it was 585.
Crazy.
So we 5 times more than the first edition.
Yeah. Wow.
No, 4.
That's incredible numbers. It doesn't surprise me just, seeing what you guys do and hearing from other people, but also I think it shows just how people's interests in cosplay and cosplay photography have changed in recent years. I'm certainly in the UK, I'm seeing a much bigger shift from people wanting to do mainstream conventions more over towards wanting to do events like Pickvetia, photo cons with multiple locations. I think people just want more now. In events like this, kind of deliver what people want. So that's great to hear.
I got a question here. It's like, so looking back over the first 2 events, sort of, what were some like the key moments or lessons that you learned from running the first 2 events that you might be taking into the third one coming up?
That's a good question.
So obviously you're always looking at
So
expanding and doing better. And obviously you could see that that's happening with the numbers. We see that anyway. But so yeah,
But I think one of the key things are that just do a feedback form and then include the feedback in the new edition, and that will make people really happy because they see that you want to improve and that you take them earnest. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even make life easier for ourselves. For some,
it's one of the most important things to get the feedback, because when you know how the things go and where people are happy or not happy, then you can just tailor the things more and more.
Yeah.
And it just shows as well. If you listen to people, they feel listened and they're happy. So it's just it's a loop.
Excellent.
so like,
So when
sorry.
when you're coming around to opening 2026 applications, what were your expectations for this year? Did you expect them to be as high as they were? Did you expect them to be about the same? Sort of generally, what were your thoughts?
Personally, I didn't thought we were going to have that many.
Yeah, me neither.
I do remember we have an internal group to chat, and I do remember we were saying, I just closed the app, open back the app, there is 10 more, and I just finished. So we were trying to go through the application while they were coming, so otherwise you just have to do them all at once, and it's the same chance to the person who starts or the one who comes last, and you don't want to be too tired to judge the person. So you just finished, and you're like, okay, I'm good. You close it, you open it back 5 minutes after, and there is 10 more people on it. I do remember we were talking about that in the group.
Yeah, don't close your eyes.
Yeah, it was that the wimping angels from Dr. Who. Just don't keep looking at it; it won't move.
I mean, from a spectator's point, because obviously we were both stuff. Darren applied, and we looked. I was just looking through social media, and it was just like all this going through, and I could see your story feed, just like the little dots on stories of like everything you were sharing again. And I was just like, oh my god, I feel sorry for these guys, because obviously we'd had previously had the conversation on the last episode that we did together, and obviously had a brief conversation of how you guys are vetting them, and I thought, oh, this is going to be a tough one. I do not envy you guys at all going through this. So kind of, obviously, brilliant to see that there's so many people that were really interested on kind of applying and wanting to come and do your event. Kind of what was going through your mind when you started seeing this mass influx more so than essentially like the year before?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm always happy if more people apply. Of course, it also means like, oh my god, all that work to do.
Yeah, people are interested in our work.
But at least
great!
we have the liberty to really choose the best of the best and be really picky, and that's kind of it's kind of cool at the same time to
Yeah.
to
Because
have
you
this power.
And it's fun. It's funny also when you start seeing all these people, and sometimes you see maybe a name of a cosplayer or a photographer that you've been following for quite some time on Instagram. You're like, oh, this person that I follow wants to come to my event. I am cool. But while I was trying to look for the number of applications, I was like scrolling on the stories, and like you were telling that you were saying that there are like so many stories, and like this is, for example, only the stories of the 11th of November.
Wow.
And it goes on and on and on, and it never stops. And Instagram has a limit of 100 stories. And after 24 hours, the stories they delete themselves, as you know. But we couldn't even reach, like, there are some stories there were some stories that would like get deleted after like 8 hours, because we already reached the 100 stories. So you can see it goes on and on and on. So everything here is on the first days. So it's cool. It's a lot of job,
Yeah.
but it's I think it's rewarding to see that like people enjoyed our event and want to try, like, or want to come back. This is very nice.
So there's like that kind of add a little bit of pressure on for the event, or you like now that you're kind of in that in between grace period between the applications and the event starting. How's that making you feel on the sort of the lead up to the event? Like, is it adding a little bit of pressure, sort of thing there, or
A little bit.
Sure. There's
Explain,
no
you know, you've got this.
doesn't exist. We don't know pressure.
No.
very all cool and collective?
Yeah, no.
It's just like start looking at your computer.
Exactly, because that's the thing. Like every time there's more people, and I'm like, okay, so first edition, I want 60 people to be happy. Second edition, I want 120 people to be happy. This edition, 200 people, 190. I don't remember the exact. I'm like, this edition, I want 190 people to be happy, plus all the helpers. We're gonna be like 400 people. And it's already difficult to myself, like, okay, I need to be happy, but to have this many people that have to be happy on that weekend, it's a lot of pressure. But I think it's good pressure. It's good stress. Like I can't wait for Picvetia to see everybody, to meet everybody at the HQ and chat and everything, and to see the pictures. I love like on Instagram seeing the pictures. Like, oh my god, it did this picture at this location. This is so cool. But I think there's the pressure of it has to be good because you're doing this for the people. And
and the pressure, especially with things that are going behind the scenes, like things that don't work well, maybe you don't see them, and that's where for me the pressure is.
Yes, locations who do not answer and stuff.
Yeah,
this is like the behind that people don't see. But
because I mean, you guys provide a lot of locations. You know, I can't even remember how many locations you provided last year, but it was a lot. Like so much choice, and it must be like really stressful if you guys get one location that all of a sudden says, "Oh, we now can't open from those times. The times need to change, or we have to change this." Or like you say, you don't get a response from them when you need to answer a question. It must be incredibly stressful because obviously, you know how many people that this is going to affect. It's not just the 190 people that have been accepted. It's all their helpers and it's a huge number of people. So I can totally understand the stress.
Yeah, and even like during the weekend where there's last minute changes. Last year we had a problem with accessing a waterfall, and the thing is we're like sometimes there isn't much things that we can do ourselves.
No,
Like
no.
there's a market in the middle of the place. We don't have the power to go and like
No,
dismantle
exactly.
the market.
Yeah.
And so there's this thing like you're trying to understand what's the problem, because sometimes people they don't have access to internet. Maybe there's problems, even with communication. So like I learned that there was a problem because there was supposed to be a market, but we didn't understand where was this market and how it was affecting going to the location. And that people and of course with the stress, you have to times to shoot, you have things to do. And so people are like, oh, this is not going great. And you're like, I'm so sorry. There isn't much I can do. I can try to help, but I don't
Again.
remember where I was going with that. But
No, but you kind of lead me on to something else I was going to say, really, which kind of arcs back to what I said earlier about the organization. And obviously, I do remember that happening. I remember sort of seeing and hearing about it on, I think it was the Discord, and everyone on there is super helpful. Not only yourselves and your vast team of people that help you to run the event, but also people attending. So I saw people saying, oh, if you do this or you go this way or you park here, and everyone just kind of seems to want to help everybody else and, wants to do their best to make sure everyone has a good time and give them hints and tips. And it was really great to see sort of everyone involved, both from the Pickvita team and the attendees and helpers, all kind of pull together in a situation like that, which I think kind of just embodies the whole feel and vibe of the event, I think.
Oh yeah, 100%. In the end, it's also a collaboration between a lot of people. I mean, there is only that much we can do at the beginning. So, for example, last year we made sure that we checked the markets, we checked everything that we want on those days as well to prevent. But sometimes you don't know if there is going to be a last minute event just next to the place and all the parkings are going to be taken. So all of these things, you have to kind of detach yourself, because you can plan up until a certain point, and
Yes.
after that, it's up to luck. So it's always great when you see members or people that are willing to just say, hey, if you do that, we've seen that it's this and this. That's a massive help as well for us. And we're super grateful for people to nice and to be understanding with all of those tiny details that we can't really plan. So that's very good. I think we have very good members as well that just coming and come with us. It's a great community. They're willing to help each other.
Yeah.
And it shows as well.
Yeah. Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about the application process. So walk us through that. What's involved? Who's involved? So sort of who does what during the application process? And more importantly, how do you narrow down like the huge list of people that apply and want to attend?
Yeah.
So yeah, the process we have. So we have the form first when everyone just goes through the same thing. In our team, we've decided who takes cosplayers and who takes photographers. So we have people inside our group. Some of us do both. So Romina and I, for example, we do cosplayers and photographers. Some just have time.
I did that as well this year.
Yeah, exactly that. So some people just say, okay, I'm just going to take cosplayers because it's a lot of work.
Yes.
So if you can and have time to do, we're trying to take as much as we can without dropping the quality of checking everyone.
Of course. Yeah.
And then you open every single application, you have a grid and you put the ratings, and it just with that we already have bottoms and tops. So you have people that have the best ratings, they go in straight away, and then you have the in between, and then we talk if there is people that we're not agreeing on the ratings because we think, well, I do not agree with that, or I do think this person has more of a potential for this and this, then we talk about it. And we all have more or less, I mean, we sometimes can't agree all the time, but more or less we try to agree on the results because we think that makes it fair for everyone, that allows a playing field for every application as well.
Yeah.
And
Excellent.
we did like this year, if I recall correctly, we had 3 meetings to discuss the final results together, like 3 hours long meetings during the same week to discuss like a full meeting for the photographers, a full meeting for the cosplayers, and a full meeting just for the waiting list. Like
Wow.
it's long. And it's as Ailita said, it's for those like who not everybody agreed. We have like we kind of are defending them. Oh, but look at the wig. Oh, look at the lighting. Oh, but I look at the makeup and everything, and we try to like we pinpoint everything to try to
Yes.
really
Yes.
understand. Always following the grid.
So,
Excellent.
kind of when you're looking at this, is there like a set criteria that you guys have kind of come up for? Like anything that kind of, I guess this question will kind of go out to them also, like people who are applying for the futures. Like, is there certain things that you go through as like a checklist in some way to go, this is where they've got this, and this, but they don't have this. If you kind of understand what I'm trying to say, is it's when you're going through either the cosplayer or the photographer, is there certain sort of things that you're reviewing that people could potentially look at in the future and go, when they're trying to sort out what images to submit, that might be beneficial to kind of to see from your point of view?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we have experience, and we've seen enough photographers and enough cosplayers. Romina has a massive craft or knowledge in photography. I think I do have as well my knowledge in cosplay, and I have as well in photography. So when you look at some applications, sometimes you know straight away. You open the file, you see all the pictures, and you can see yes, no, straight away, because it's not. We never look at the person itself. Like how you look doesn't matter, because
Yes.
that should never be in the thing.
Yeah.
But if your costume, you can see straight away a costume that falls
Yes.
nicely, that has nice finishes, a wig that is, because a photographer. If you're a photographer and the wig of the cosplayer isn't well made or well done, that's
Yeah.
more work for them than
Absolutely.
to retouch. Same for the photographer. If the photographer doesn't know how to retouch skin that looks, it's subjective how you
Yes.
like to retouch skin. But if you see that the person on all the picture, they all look maybe strange or have something off, then as a cosplayer that you don't want to work with that person. So
Yeah.
there is
Yeah.
no point in getting them in. So all of those things that makes our job easier as well, because you just get through applications. And with time, you just say yes, no, yes, no. Then there are the ones where you're just like, okay, it's not the thing I like, but I definitely can see all the potential.
Yeah.
And
Like the
this is
skill.
where you
Yeah.
try to talk with other people, because sometimes
Yes.
it's like, yeah, it's not my style, but I do think the quality is there. Quality is there.
Yes.
The style is different, but it's that's why we are
Yes.
multiple
Yeah.
with tastes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mhm.
Like you say, the style is subjective, but the general skill level is something that is a little bit less subjective. Like you say, the style might be different to what you would usually like yourself, but you know, you can tell straight away if the lighting is off or if the lighting is really good, and how they've used the location and things like that. So, but also what I really love about the application process for you guys is, I think I've just got it up on my screen now, that you produce a template, if you like, for, I'm looking at the photography one now, and you give people pointers on, lighting, composition, editing, the model, and overall impression. It's really great to see that kind of guidance for people, not only to use in their portfolio selection, but to possibly use if they maybe want to apply next year and they want to see what they might need to achieve or what they might need to do. So that's really great to see. I mean, I guess the hardest part for you guys must be the saying no. You know, when nearly 600 people apply and you can take less than 200, you've got to say no to 2/3 of those people that apply. Some of them might be friends, you know, people that you
Yep.
know well in the community. Some of them might even be people that have been before. But this time around, you want to give some new people a chance. That must be incredibly difficult, emotionally and mentally for you guys. I know, like sometimes if even for me, if somebody wants to shoot with me and they're not particularly my style, it's incredibly difficult for me to say no because I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to upset them. I don't want them to think that they're a bad cosplayer when actually it's just I can't fit them in or it's not my style. So it must be much, much worse for you guys to have to say no to so many people.
I think I got used a bit to it. I mean, if you do that so much, you just you have to get used to
Yes.
it
Yeah.
because otherwise you will not do it anymore.
No,
And
exactly.
it's the same also for private shoots and especially with photocons where you get a lot of requests. You have also to say a lot of no. So yeah, it's also getting used to it and finding some nice words to say and make them
Yeah.
understand it's not because of their skills. It's just you have
Exactly.
so many to choose
Yes,
from.
and I guess really you just have to kind of put your business head on, if you like, and just think, right, you know, we are doing this for the event. We have to make the right decisions for the event, and unfortunately, not everyone can make the cut. So yeah, just I totally get it.
Yeah.
I still think it's so frustrating.
That's
And, like,
open
I
each time.
s
I'm not used to it.
No, me neither. 3 years in
Sorry.
and I'm still
But it's still
That's your Swiss German part.
too much of a I'm a
Too emotional.
I mean, especially because you wish as well. Like a lot of people contact us and they ask why am I not in, and you can't explain to every single person because
No.
it would be way too much. And sometimes because we keep some notes, but it would be so much work to be able to explain the thing to everyone,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it feels unfair because you want to be telling to the person, look, that is what you can improve, but you can't. Because
Yes.
otherwise, if you do it for one, you have to do it for the 500 that
Exactly.
are
Exactly. It's not like a cosplay contest where there's like 25 participants and it's manageable to give 25 feedbacks. It's almost 600 people, and plus it's not like a cosplay contest where you can like just after the contest you just go in front of the judges and you have a chit chat like this, like. And plus, we are many people judging, and sometimes we don't have the same criterias. Like a cosplayer who would get in for me would not get in for another person, and in the end, it's. And I get the sentiment that it's frustrating not to have a feedback because, like, what can I improve if I don't know
Hmm.
what is, like, let's say, the problem? Not that it's a problem, but unfortunately, it's really. We cannot do this. We're
No.
doing this on our free time. We're not like this is a thing. Maybe it's a good reminder for people. We're not getting paid for doing that. We're doing this on our free time, and before the results are out, we spend like 3 intense weeks, or more or less, like reviewing every evening. Where I spent like at least 30 minutes uh, reviewing the entries for the day, and then we have the week after the closing. I'm sorry, my English today is very bad. At the end of the selection, the application process, the end, we have like these 3 nights where we're like for 4-5 hours straight talking about everything, everyone looking at the pictures together, arguing because this person has a better makeup, but this person have better wigs. Which one gets in? We can have
Yeah.
both, and it's intense. So the moment we send the results, we every time we're like, okay, so now the Hunger Game begins, because everybody will be talking about this on Instagram. I have a billion stories to reshare, and people will have questions, but we don't have the time and the energy to to yeah, we unfortunately we cannot. I get that it's frustrating, and
Yeah.
it's frustrating for us too. But it will be an impossible task
Yeah, of
for
course it
us.
would.
Yeah, and I also think it doesn't mean that we are always right by choosing
Exactly.
those
No,
person.
no.
It's just a
Mhm.
vote of everyone, which is like one number, and this number says yes or no. And after we look at the list and we're like, why did this person did not get chosen? We don't
Mhm.
understand it either, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, I often get asked by a lot of people here in the UK. You know, I'm thinking about going to Pickvetia. You know, what should I look for? What should I? The main thing I say to people is take a look at the images that have been shot there from
That's
people that have
actually a great
attended,
advice.
and look at those images. Look at the quality. Look at the not necessarily the style, because there's many different styles. But look at how they use the location. Look at how look at how they light the person. Just look at the aspects, and particularly, you know, people that have attended multiple years. And not necessarily compare that photographer or that cosplayer to yourself, but look at the images that are being produced, and then look at what you're producing and what you might look to produce in the future, and pick up on some elements of that, and try and learn and grow, if you like, to evolve your own quality into something that might fit that. It's hard to explain, but it just kind of like just pick up on it, just use the images that you see posted from the events to almost learn from. And that's what I tell people here.
That's lies. He didn't tell me that.
Don't
I'm
tell.
telling you that now.
Yeah, it's not good now, is it?
Oh, I know. He wanted you as an assistant this year.
Yeah,
That's why.
that's what it is. He didn't want me to get in.
I
He wanted
can't
me to.
I can't drive myself around.
That's
That's
what it
actually
is.
a very good advice there, to check the other people's picture to understand a bit more what gets in and what doesn't work. Because for
Yeah.
us to sometimes explain, it's a hard one, because when you see it, you know it. But when you don't know or don't understand, I mean, for example, for cosplayers, I'm always trying to say, like, look, be really careful on how the final thing looks. Your makeup needs to be good. If it's all smudge, if the wig is not well, if the costume is falling apart, you're gonna be more work for the person collaborating with you. So all of those things you can improve, and it doesn't need much. It's all about details, especially the makeup. Makeup is a big thing with the cosplayers.
Yes.
Yes.
If you don't know how to put makeup on yourself, photography eats the makeup. I tend to say that to people. They don't realize you need to be very intense with it.
Yes.
And all of those things, it's that. It's just look at
Yeah.
how they
Yeah.
look. Yeah.
I mean, as a photographer, I mean, I've been shooting now for over 30 years. I started at college and then in uni, mainly sort of studio work. And one of the things that I quickly learned was the better someone's makeup, the easier it is to light it and make someone look good. You know, if you got someone that isn't necessarily that good at makeup, but more importantly, isn't that good at knowing their own skin, their own face, their own features, because everybody's different, then it can become incredibly difficult to like that person easily and quickly. I know some of these shoots are like 1.5, 2 hours long, but it's amazing how quickly that time goes. And if you've got someone whose hair or wig, makeup and costume is just impeccable, you can just get through so many images so quickly, and it just makes things go a lot smoother, and the editing becomes so much easier as well.
And
You know,
posing expression is also important for
yes,
that.
definitely.
Yes.
Very important.
That one. Yeah, there's like, even when we created the grid in the first year, we cosplayers were looking at it and were like, and then we look at the grid, then look at our own pictures, and we're like, I don't think I have all the points in that.
No.
I don't think I deserve to get into Picvetia. It's and we all started to, like, we created these grids and we all started to look at our own pictures, and I realized that I was doing all my pictures like this because this is my right angle, and like, oh, I look prettier like this, and I realized that all my pictures I was like naturally tilting my head on like showing the same side. And it was a good exercise because everybody had a reality check, and we're like, then you can. We started to like to. The important thing, I think, it's to have diversity, because if you're always posing like this and doing you have to show that you are capable of doing more than just like showing the same side of your face and doing maybe a few things with the hands that are always the same, for example.
Yes, yeah.
And it was funny discovering that it's because it's like being a model is like literally a job. Like you have to train yourself to do that. So it's a good exercise also to acknowledge that you're not being perfect in it, and improving. I think we all like use this grid to improve ourselves in the future. Like at least like for posing, like, okay, I'm gonna try to indeed like do more, have more diversity in my posing, like even showing this side of my face. It's different because sometimes we receive applications where the costumes are good, the makeup is good, the wigs are good, like the costume wise it's perfect, but the posing, it's all the same. It's like when you just change the skin on a character, like
Yeah.
it's always the same base, but with a different outfit. And it's frustrating because like, oh, I wish, but posing is very important too, because if you're gonna shoot all day with like 5 different photographers, but you're gonna do the same pose, it won't be like, even if the styles are different, it's a shame not to have like to show diversity to profit, to have like different things.
Yeah, exactly that. It's one thing because I did I think the first year you did a secret con. It was in the prison, was it?
That's right.
Yeah. I went there. And I checked. I did looked at the people, and it's interesting to see. You can see straight away someone who knows their own body, how to cut light, how to look at the photographer, how to intentionally give an expression. When you have to work with someone, and work goes both ways. If the photographer doesn't know what they're doing and they just let you pose, makes it really hard, very hard.
Yes.
Yeah. Same goes for the cosplayer. If they don't know what to do, the photographer is going to have a hard time. So our job when we do those applications is to be sure to provide both sides someone who knows what they're doing. Doesn't mean you need to be an expert, because some people they're sometimes a bit rough around the edge, but there is a massive potential. So for us, it's important as well to give those person a possibility to evolve. We've seen applications. Some people have been applying few times, and we've seen improvement already
Yes.
in their portfolio, and it's impressive. And for us, that's the most important things. And sometimes it's just like, you know what? I think if that person comes in, they're going to be smashing it because they're going to be given the opportunity to work with people that are going to be pushing them up. So sometimes we do that as well when we give opportunities, which is like that's a good opportunity for them and for us as well to
Yeah.
lift everything.
Yeah. So one of the things that actually surprised me a little bit when I first started to look at Pickvetia was that I was seeing photographs published on social media from people, from photographers, from cosplayers that, you know, some had got large following, some had got medium follow accounts, some had got very like low follow account, but everyone put out the same epic quality. And it was really great to see an event such as that wasn't just taking people on large follow accounts, because I think it's important that, you know, a lot of people get hung up on their social media following and think it's all about that. Where really for me, I don't care when I'm attending these events. If somebody drops in my DMs to ask me if I'm interested to shoot, I don't even look at how many followers they've got. The first thing I look at is, first of all, what are you cosplaying? Is it something I might be interested in? Is it something I'm aware of? Then I look at their profile and I look at their shots. I look at the style. I look at the quality, and I'll base my decision on whether I want to shoot with them off that. And then I'll go back and look at their socials later on when I'm putting in some details into my schedule, and I'll go, oh, they've only got 1,000 followers. Wow, how have they only got that many? And it's really great to see an event such as yourselves that are giving people the opportunity to create such amazing content in fantastic locations, that perhaps some other events might not give them that same opportunity.
Yeah, that's one thing. The Romina system with the application made it even better because we don't have access to. We can
Yeah.
see the social media, but we
Yeah.
don't go on their social media. So
Yeah.
for us, we just have a name
Yeah.
and the picture we gave.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they are. I mean, they are gorgeous girls that have, I don't know how many followers that try to apply, but for us, that doesn't. We don't care about that. It's how do you present yourself? How is your work looking? For us, that makes way more sense because that
Yeah.
is what's going to bring more quality. If you give quality, then the next applications are going to be more quality as well.
Yeah.
And then people
Yeah.
want to come for that, not because they're going to be seen. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
yeah, we don't have the time. We have enough applications to study carefully. That okay, now just wait a minute. Let me check on Instagram.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
these people only has 1,000 followers. I don't want that one. She's
No, exactly.
gorgeous. She does perfect cut. No, we
Yeah.
don't have time.
No.
Even for next time, we will drop the names because names will always influence you as well. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I often get people say to me, "Oh, I was going to apply, but I don't think I've got enough followers." And I just say to them, that really doesn't matter.
Like
Look at
literally, it
look at the
doesn't
quality of
matter.
your work.
Yes.
No,
And
exactly. The
exactly.
only no, sorry. No, I was about to say the only reason why we ask for your your nickname is for the badge.
Yes.
We don't care, like we don't care who you are on your socials because we only
exactly.
need your name for the badge. You could have 1,000, 110, or 1 billion Instagram followers. It doesn't really matter to us.
Yeah. For us, it makes no difference at all.
No,
That's great.
exactly.
Very much.
So now you've given me ideas, knowing that you only need the nickname for something. I can think now. I'm just going to come up with like a random nickname.
You know what? That's actually an interesting point that you bring because Romina, not we. Romina was designing the badges, and she sent a few prototypes, and we're like, "Oh, this one is cute." But if somebody has a nickname like this, because there
It
are
won't
people
fit.
who had like the nicknames like this, we can fit in the badge. So we had to she had to change everything again to to fit people who have like really long nicknames.
So what I'm now going to say is a little bit of a warning out to people listening. It's like, let's not make really long nicknames that we.
No, because
Yeah,
otherwise,
Your nickname will be really small then.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
go for it if you want.
also keep the nickname clean.
Yeah.
You'll have just one badge with one massive name on it. Just a few lines of nickname.
Go for it.
That is something else I love about the events. Actually, is the just the badges. They always look great.
That's Romina.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
I love seeing people's stories when they first collect their badges and they take photos and share them online. It's almost like people picking them up. It's like a badge of honor that everyone gets so excited just for collecting their badges.
You wanna get teased for
Go on.
next edition? Should I get one?
Yeah.
Oh, this
Okay,
sounds
wait.
good, yeah.
Come on.
If you're willing to
Spoiler.
share.
What's
Just
the
wave
mouse
it quickly in front of the
I
camera.
don't want to comment more. I hate it.
I mean, that was the thing for me when I went to Focus. The Focus was my first one I did last year with Darren when I was his assistant. Was that nice little personal touch with the names. I actually really like that.
Yeah, in the end, it is a token. It's a memory.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. I
Wait.
love that.
Oh, doesn't
We
work.
can't see you anymore.
Oh, that's really cool.
Photographers,
The face on
Love that.
cosplayers, and
Love that.
yeah, and the team one.
Excellent.
And it's
Excellent.
funny because you were talking about the pictures that people put on Instagram, and I think that was kind of the inspiration because Romina, it's always Romina. She said, "Oh, it would be like flowers if people
Yeah.
took pictures of
Mm.
them together. It would look like a star or flower."
Yeah. Excellent.
So
I love that.
I know what Darren, myself, James, and Harry will be doing. Then when we rock up.
Nice.
I can't wait.
Put them all together. Let's move on to locations then, because as we've already said, you guys provide a vast number of locations, but also like a huge variety as well. Indoor, outdoor, loads of different styles. So what makes the Pickvetia locations and shooting environments special when you're sort of looking for them? What do you hope to achieve? Are there locations you already know about? Are you sort of driving around one day and see something and think, oh, that looks amazing? Or do people sort of send you suggestions? How do they come about? What's the sort of what's the story behind them?
It depends on which region.
Yeah.
It's always the question with Pickvetia. For the Ticino ones, we have two members who live in Ticino, and I am myself from Ticino, so we were just tossing some ideas that we already had at the beginning. So, I think the city could be. We couldn't decide between Bellinzona and Locarno, so we say, okay, well, let's go in the middle because this is going to be easier because Locarno has access to all the valleys, the beautiful mountains, and Bellinzona has access to the castles and another valley on the side. So we decided to have this in between. And we started with a list of locations that we already knew. Romina as well, you knew quite a few locations, if I'm not mistaken. So we had an Excel where we could write locations. And then we the two guys from Ticino. I think they kind of just wandered around with the car, and then I think I spot this pretty location here, and then they would just go and so this is Zelda.
That's it. So just trying to go on the
Hello, hi. And one night I was on my phone on Google Maps, and I was just zooming and looking, that maps has these little icons.
Yeah.
And I was I think this is a little fort. This could be a nice location. So I would send everything in the chat, if I found this garden, I found this fort. And it went kind of like that for the Ticino one. So we would look online. We were trying to find as Romina said, we always have it would be great to have a church, to have a castle, to have the diversity in the locations so that it would fit different styles and different cosplays. So, like, you Google
Yeah.
churches in Ticino. Spoiler alert, there are like 200, and
I mean,
it's very difficult.
I remember sort of when you guys were going around some of the locations, like scouting. I remember some of the stories you were sharing because I originally wasn't going to apply for this year because it's Tom's wedding, like 2 days after we get back. I mean, what can possibly go wrong, right? So I wasn't going to apply because it was going to be so close to Tom's wedding. And then you guys were like driving around and you were sharing stories on the Pickvetia Instagram of all these amazing locations, and I was like, "Yeah, Tom, I've got to go."
Have a good and a bad news from
Well,
I was
no,
like,
the thing
"Yeah, I'm
is,
gonna like."
I had the same conversation with my other half. I went, how upset would you be if I applied for, when is it? Well, it's, this week, that weekend. It's just like, says, as long as you're back for the wedding, it's fine. I was like, okay, cool. See you later.
Yeah, so it was like I made a decision there and then. Right, I'm applying. I'll make it work if I get in. And yeah, just the locations for this year are just absolutely stunning.
I'm
It's
so flattered. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
one of the thing as well that was really important for Picvetia was no matter where the location was, we wanted to have exclusive places as well, locations that you can't really access
Yes.
unless you're part of an event or you actually pay for the location, which
Yeah.
is why the money that you use to participate is as well to have access to those locations specifically for you at this time. Because if you go anywhere at the same time, you can't take pictures in there because you're not allowed to. So that's why we chosen some locations specifically for that. So the people that just come to it, they know they're going to have this exclusive access. In the French part of the last year, we had discussion with the church, same with Ticino actually, and they're a bit more pain to work with there. They're a bit more strict. You can't go with any costume there. You have to be fully dressed. You can't go with
Yes.
the demonic thing. Other locations, they're really specific as well with the rules for what you can do, what cannot do. So you have to deal with all of those when you're looking around. Some places we found were gorgeous, and they said no.
Yeah, so frustrating. Like, we have money, let us pay you to go there. And no, we don't actually, sorry.
Not interested. Oh, okay then. That was one of the major criteria, having something that you can't access in normal time by yourself.
Yeah. And
Yes.
sometimes even some locations that may seem, but anybody could shoot there, actually not. Like for some of the villages that we have for next year, we had to get authorizations because they're like, I don't want to tell another lie, but maybe UNESCO, but like they're protected villages. So we had to get special authorizations. And these are kind of the tricky locations, but because people who could just think, but just like anybody could shoot there, but actually no. Like we had to work our way through shooting in there.
Is that next year or this year?
This year. Sorry.
Okay, I thought, I was like,
I'm
are we
still
getting a
used
little
to
bit
saying,
of a sneak peek for next year?
I'm in denial. We are not into 2026.
We just thought we had a scoop for next year then. I was like,
no, exactly. No. We're still. Romina was today scouting for next locations for next year.
Today was very rewarding because it was like a guy who said, "Yeah, you're very welcome. You can do whatever you want. You can even move the furniture." And I was like, "Wow, never had that."
That's rare.
That's definitely a conversation piece that I'll have a little bit later on with you guys about next year.
I mean, it must be difficult as well when you're choosing a location for HQ, because like you must have a lot of considerations to think about, because you're essentially going to be descending 400 plus people on this small town, in this beautiful little area, and like you know, are these people ready for this? It must be really you must have a lot of work to do with the sort of local areas as well to make them aware of things, a lot of considerations to take into account. Yeah, I don't really think some of the people that attend really probably don't appreciate just the sheer huge amount of work that goes into putting on an event like this.
Yeah, one of the big points about the location is that people there usually don't really understand our concept. Even if we really explain it well and everything, they always think we do one event in one place and everyone is coming there. And yeah.
Yeah, you have to let them understand, because sometimes, I mean, we all try to communicate directly with the language as well, because sometimes people are not that well versed in English. Like, I wouldn't be able to speak to Italian that well. So all the French ones, for example, you try to explain as best as you can, and some of them still think, okay, 400 people at once. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
no, no, no.
yeah,
You're
no,
one of the nation, and this gives
yeah,
them as well a bit of a peace of mind as well,
yes,
because they
yes,
realize, okay, no, it's more possible, it's
yeah,
easier.
yeah. And I think that as
Yeah.
well is because you provide so many locations. I mean, I remember at last year's event, I don't ever remember at any of the locations or venues that I shot at there really being like huge gatherings or groups of people, because everyone is kind of like spread far and wide. So you think, oh, 400 people with all the assistants. Um, when you think that they're spread out across all of the locations, and I guess yes, you probably are going to have some locations that are a little bit more popular than others. Um, but still, you've got so many locations to choose from that, other than potentially sort of HQ, where you might have people gathering for like the group photo and maybe coming after the day's shooting and things like that. Generally, people are just spread far and wide. So I guess it does give, once you sort of get that through to some of the venues and locations, it must just give them a little peace of mind that no, you're not just going to get all these people descending on your little town or your little village or your venue. It's just going to be, it might be 20 or 30, throughout the weekend, perhaps.
100%. The chances of all of them being at the same place is so small. It would be very bad luck for us if everyone just decides, "Mm, we want to go all of there." That would happen.
Everybody in the villa on Friday. Friday.
Exactly. We want to shoot this place at the same time, same hour. That would be very bad luck, but not impossible though. But please.
No, no,
Well,
never
what
say never.
Yeah.
Let's not jinx it. Touch
Well,
wood.
Yeah,
what
no,
I
let's
want to
not
what I want to
touch.
mention is Darren loves shooting group shots or like
No,
massive collaborations of
no,
people together. So I'm putting him forward to being the person that does the photo for the group session. How's that
no,
sound?
no. I hate shooting groups. No.
This is
Come on, it's just 400 people. It's not that much.
it's my running joke with him every time I'm assisting. Is like, oh, he's doing a meet, he's doing a group shoot. Yeah,
That
No.
easy.
Sorry. I only shoot primes. I haven't got a wide enough lens for groups.
he's
Sorry.
got an anamorphic that will do it nicely.
So, what do we want to talk about next, Tom?
Oh, I think so. Obviously, we just talked about the sort of different style of locations. What's like a typical day? And I try and word this right. Like, what's a typical day on a build up to one of your events versus a typical day during the event?
That's a good question, actually.
So during the event, our day.
Well, so obviously we've touched briefly on like the application process and how busy and chaotic
Mhm.
that was. And now that you're kind of in between the application and the build up to the event, now that we're getting closer to the event, so what's the sort of like typical Pickvita day? Like not as in like your personal day or your everyday life, but like your roles and responsibilities in regards to Pickvita sort of now and to the build up of the main event, and then the sort of roles and responsibilities that you take on during the event.
Yeah, for me, it's mostly I do remember things to do. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I have to do this and this and this. And I'm like, yeah, well, maybe tomorrow.
super brain power. They get that.
Yeah.
Woman,
Yeah, and always have to think about who needs to do this and this. Yeah.
She's a superwoman. Every time I see the amount of things she does and she handles, and she just remembers it everywhere. We're just there trying to remember our own tasks, and she's just there, mastermind.
Mhm.
She's so good at it. So we're trying to keep an eye on the questions. We obviously have applications that are going to be dropping, so you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware of the questions that come through, finding people on the waiting list. For now, it's the calm before the storm. We can breathe a bit. Soon, it's not going to be that fun anymore. when it becomes closer and closer, but for now, it's trying to keep an eye and keep everything stable. That there isn't too messy drops, too many questions, nothing goes and fall apart. And thanks God we have Romina, because my God, she's good.
Yes, yes. I would say the daily tasks, like for me, but I share that with Romina, is checking the Instagram every day. So accepting collabs, sharing stories, answer questions. Then Ailita and Romina are on the emails every day also, like answer emails and everything. And we check the Discord if people have questions, if people have inquiries.
Yep, that's the one.
Questions?
Inquiries.
Like that, I would say the daily tasks, and like it's always this. But aside from the Discord, the Instagram and the email are like all year long. And then since we're, as Ailita said, we're it's the calm before the storm. We are just like still checking the last like to check things with the difficult English today. The English is not Englishing. Sorry.
That's us
Don't
on a
worry.
day-to-day basis. And we're English.
The locations, like check that everything
Yes.
is in order with the locations. Check the last things, and the Romina already started to like creating the badges. It's like, and then going near the event is gonna be everything else. Like I remember last year because I live near I live in the French part where La Picvetia was last year. I remember like just setting the last things, like, okay, the weather is gonna be like this almost, because we couldn't see the storm coming, the literal storm coming. But I saw that the roads had some problems, so these are some things that we have like to see last minute, that we cannot see in advance, and check like that everything is in order to have the event.
Yeah. It was so hot last year as well. Like,
Yes.
I did not expect Switzerland to be so hot.
Yes,
I mean, I know it
but
was June, but I just didn't I don't think of Switzerland being like 30 odd degrees. I was just like, wow, it's warm.
Yeah. So this is why this is also a thing, changing locations, and this is why we also try to change month every time. Like the first year it was in May, the second year it was in June. But we said for Ticino there is no way we can do our events in May and June, because Ticino is a highly touristic place. Like where we are going is the most density of tourists in Ticino. So there is no way we do that later than May, after like later than April. And also it would be too hot, because since Ticino is in the south of the Alps,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
hotter. So this is why like we'll see how it's going to be in April, because it could be 25 degrees and perfect weather, or it could be raining.
So what
And
I'm hearing is
this
I'm going to have a tan
It
ready.
could be even snowing.
It could be snowing, exactly.
Even better.
It's a gamble. It's a gamble. Usually,
I
we
mean-
saw the weather forecast for those exact dates in the last 5 years, and 4 out of 5 it was sunny and beautiful.
I mean,
So
I was
cross
talking
our fingers.
to Romy only like about a week or two ago, saying I would love to shoot some snow pictures. So if it snows, it snows.
Yeah.
We don't really
Cosplayers.
get much here, so
Yeah. Yeah, but in the meantime, I see all the cosplayers who are going to shoot, who want to shoot in the waterfalls, in the water, in swimsuits, in the pool. I'm like, guys, I'm not so sure yet. Like, be careful.
Now you tell me, like quite a lot of my shoots are in the waterfalls.
Yeah.
No, it's really cold even in summer. So yeah.
Yeah,
The
I get
like
it.
people underestimate. Like every time I saw on Instagram people talking about like taking pictures inside of the waters in the waterfalls, I write them like the water is usually no higher than 10 degrees. And 10 degrees in water is not 10 degrees outside the water. It's way colder and you can get hypothermia really quick. So
We still have to remind people those basic rules of survival instinct, you know?
Yeah, Darren, when you decide to put me in a waterfall.
We can stick a plastic bag over the flash. It's fine. I mean, to be fair, I think I've only got 3 waterfall shoots, so that's not too bad.
We're doing one together.
Yeah, we are actually.
Ah, very
That's
nice.
going to be fun.
Yeah, but it's okay. And you said you don't like groups, but we're a duo, so I hope it did. You know
duos
that.
Duos don't count. Duos are fine.
Okay.
Any more than 2 is I'm not happy with. But yeah, it's not that I don't like shooting groups. It's just
you're allowed to if you.
It's such a pain to light because I like to do quick but effective lighting setup. So like a couple of lights with maybe, if I'm indoors, maybe a couple of colored lights in the background, but key lights I like to shoot with probably 2 max. At events, purely coming from the UK, it's a nightmare to bring all the gear over. So I don't like to shoot really any groups bigger than 2 people. Never say never though. I mean, you know, who knows?
Is that a great time to tell you, surprise, going to be 10 people there?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, we're a group. We're not 2, we're 20. Is that all right?
It's
At the top of the
20, there are
waterfall.
500.
You have already the wine to handle the thing. It's fine.
Easy.
That is definitely going to be, that's some BTS right there.
So yeah, I'll just be like, just back up into the waterfall a little bit more.
Yeah, you won't see me in the waterfall. I'm sorry. If it was July, maybe.
The waterfall can be the backdrop. That's all we need.
Yeah.
Okay, so sort of growth challenges and the future of Pickvetia. I mean, one of the things we've got down here in our schedule, which I think is a really good one to ask, and that's with so many applications, how do you balance the demand with keeping the event manageable and enjoyable for everyone, but also how do you balance keeping it, you know, getting people interested? Like, you've grown from strength to strength, which I'm guessing you never really envisaged that you would grow this much year on year. But sort of how do you balance sort of, you know, sort of managing everything to put all the work in to help grow the event and keep it interesting to people, but also against your own, you know, this, as you already said, this is a hobby. This is not your full-time job. So how do you balance that with everything?
It's actually something we never really talked about, if we want to have an upper limit or not. But I guess there needs to be. I mean, I don't believe that we can grow that much more, and don't feel like growing even so much more. I mean, it's just starting to get too much, especially with the applications, to review them. I think on at the event itself, it's not really a problem with all the people there. It never felt like it was too much. I don't know what the other things.
I guess really it's kind of you can get to a point where there, like you say, there's a ceiling, and to grow past that ceiling would potentially be detrimental to not only the event but your own lives as well. You know, you've all got day jobs, you've all got things you like to do. on the weekend with your partners, holidays and things like that. And if you grow the event too big, it gets to the point where it takes over, you no longer enjoy it, and then you possibly don't put on the best event and deliver the best that you can to the people that are attending. So I guess it's a fine line, really. You want to grow the event to the best that you possibly can, but I guess you have to decide, sort of what that ceiling is, to be able to deliver the best event you can, but also um, to still enjoy putting the event on yourselves, I guess.
I would say yes, because I mean, we already saw the event growing organically. So it's just, I don't think it will go too much either, because it's still
Yeah.
quite of a niche thing. So
Yes.
there are only many people that practice cosplay photography or just cosplay altogether. And sometimes the people that have been coming to the event, they want to try another event, they want to try something else,
Yes.
or just bored of cosplay as well. So you just have that rotation. And I guess the limit is only the amount of people that are interested as well at the same time. I don't think it can go that much more.
No, that's a good point, actually. And also, I'm seeing more and more events springing up on the calendar each year as well. So like you say, people might want to try. I know with you guys, you're a little bit niche in the fact that you move around. So you're not like an event that's in the same region with the same locations year after year, and maybe just add like the odd one here and there. You constantly move around year after year in the main three regions. But yeah, there are more and more events now cropping up on the calendar for sort of photo cons around Europe, um, which I guess perhaps does take the pressure off worrying about that ceiling. Because like you say, I guess organically it probably will grow to a point where, it kind of like peters out a little bit and just finds its level. Which hopefully will take the worry away from you guys having to say, right, we have to put a hard ceiling on here. I mean, I think in the last, like this year alone, I think I've seen another 2 new events crop up in Europe. They seem to be like springing up everywhere now.
That, and the thing is as well, and that is something that's going to happen for any photography event,
Mm,
is the first year it's going to be the test. So if your event isn't well prepared or well planned, then people are going to be talking.
correct.
So we know, for example, I think we've been enjoying other photography events. So we have the experience of good and well organized. We took that with us as well. Um, we know each other with other organizers as well.
Yes,
So we can talk. So sometimes it's just like, okay, well, this year I'm going to be doing this one or apply to this one, and maybe this one this year, the other one there. It doesn't mean one is better than the other. It just gives you other
exactly.
opportunities.
Bit more variety and
That
change
takes
different.
off. Yeah,
Yeah,
it takes off the pressure of, oh, we have to do something different all the time. No, people just want this year. They think that is going to be better because they have this location that we know. Sometimes you want to go to a place, and I think that there is 3 main that are well known now. One in France, one in Poland, and one in Italy that are the major ones. And all of those, they have specific locations you want to aim sometimes because you have a cosplay that would perfectly fit there. So I think it makes it as well a nice rotation. We don't play
yes.
against each other; we play with
Mm,
each other.
yes. This is another point I was going to come on to, because in the UK there isn't really many photo cons. Um, there's obviously Secret Con. There's another one called Camp Cosplay, which is a fantastic event. There's there used to be another one which was kind of like a bit of a hybrid event, part photo con, but they also did some great panels and workshops called Cos Expo. Um, and but we don't really like compete against each other because we all talk like organizers, but it is, the UK is very, very small. But you see a lot with the mainstream conventions in the UK. They all seem to like compete with one another. But with the photo conventions or the photocon events in sort of mainland Europe, you don't see any competition. You all kind of like work together. You all attend. Like I often see like organizers of Pickvetia going to another photocon and organizers from other events going to Pickvetia, and it's really great to see. And also Europe is so vast that it is actually nice to see different photocons springing up in different regions, because Europe's huge and it gives everybody a little chance to potentially attend these events without having to travel across to the other side of Europe, which is fantastic in itself.
Yeah, and it gives you as well different landscapes, different
Exactly.
locations.
Yes,
Even
absolutely.
architecture.
Even
It's
Mm.
not the same.
Yeah.
You go on a photocon in Italy and one in Poland. You don't have
Very, very different.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
Even if we take Picvetia, like the architecture in Ticino, you will see it's not the same as
Yes.
it was last year in the French part, and it won't be the same as next year in the German part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly that. And I think where it could be a problem, and that was raised or a concern maybe from other photographers or the participants, is when you want to try to attempt all of them, which granted, if you can do that, try to do that. We do not recommend trying to do all of them. It's extremely tiring. People don't realize how
No,
tired and
it
how
is.
exhausting and demanding it is to be in those events. So if you choose one, just commit to one. Be
Yes.
good to
Yeah.
you, to the organizer, to the cosplayers. You can do multiple, and people
Yeah.
have the capacity. Kudos to
Yeah.
them.
I think, you know, I mean, I
but
did two last year. And that was Pickvetia and Focus. I'm doing 3 this year.
Maybe 3.
Same.
Well, I'm aiming to do 3, definitely 2.
Mm.
So I'm doing Pickvetia and I'm doing Volta. I didn't do Volta last year. I didn't apply to Volta last year because I knew I was going to be on holiday. And potentially, you know, if I get accepted for Focus, I'll do Focus as well this year, which will be the 3. But there's a good distance between sort of May and September, so I don't mind that. But in order to allow me to be able to do that, I've massively cut back on the events I'm doing here in the UK. And it's purely because I want to focus more on working over in European photocons, meeting more new people, because the locations are so stunning. It's yes, we have some great locations here in the UK, but it's nice to be shooting in sort of different areas. You know, someone said to me, "Oh, why don't you do Pixel in July?" And I'm like, I can only do so much. I have a day job. I run Secret Con. You know, I want to. You know, these to me are like a holiday and photography all rolled up into one. And I normally tag like an extra day or two either before or on the end just to spend some time touring around the area. But yeah, it's definitely tiring. There's the expense element as well. Although I will say it's generally cheaper for me to attend a European photocon than it is for me to attend a mainstream UK event.
Yeah, you said that
Like
the
a
last time. It's
lot
shocking.
cheaper. Like genuinely shocking. Like I can attend,
Was it
you know,
we
like
attended Focus, didn't we? And I think we spent probably what,
yeah,
£800?
yeah. I think for both of us, myself as a photographer, Switch as my assistant, with an extra stay in tours at the end of it, all of our food, all of our drink, car hire, flights,
hire, flight,
accommodation, and it
petrol,
was
everything,
less. It was less than just paying for a hotel for MCM London.
which was half the time.
It's just,
Crazy.
you know,
That's
it's
shocking. Yeah.
and as a photographer, I get so much more out of it.
Hmm.
Um,
Of course.
which is why I'm investing more of my time and money and effort into just doing, you know, potentially 3 European events. I have said I'm going to probably do 1, maybe 2 absolute maximum next year. I promised my partner that we will have a proper holiday again next year, so I need to save some annual leave for that.
Thanks.
But so yeah, so next year I'll probably cut back again on European events, but then the following year, if I'm still doing it, I'm getting on a bit now.
They'll
Then
still be doing it.
I'll look to, yeah, I probably will. But yeah, you know, it is a consideration for people. It does take, you know, when you're shooting 3 days solid, and for anyone that hasn't attended one of these events, it's not like shooting a normal convention where you do a couple of quick snaps and then you move on, you go and have some lunch. You know, you're talking like probably 3, 4, sometimes for some people, if you're completely mad, 5 shoots in a day at like 1.5, 2 hour shoots. It's like doing a bunch of sort of outer con, proper arranged and organized shoots back to back throughout 3 days. I mean, I must admit, I have gone a bit nuts this time for Pickvetia, and I think the Friday I've got 6 shoots.
Good luck.
God.
I'm shooting from 9:30 in the morning until 10:30 at night.
When were you telling me this?
And I promised I promised myself I was only going to do 3 a day.
You turned around to me and said, we're going to keep it very similar focused. We're going to do 3 shoots a day over 3 days. Not, whoa, okay. This is how we're finding out.
So, the Saturday I've got 3, and the Sunday I've got 2. I've planned nothing in before the group photo. I am staying in bed.
That's a wise choice.
Until someone
To be
contacts
fair, though,
him and says, I'm doing this, and then I'll stand there stupidly and go,
bring a swimsuit so you if the weather is good, you can chill in the pool.
To be fair, like we've got a good couple of 1 hour gaps between some of the shoots, and then in the evening there's a gap from like 7:30 until 9:30 where I've got a fire shoot, so we can just like chill at HQ, have some food, go in the pool.
There's a pool.
In the end, you have to.
Yeah, there's a pool. Yeah,
there's a pool in HQ.
Yeah.
Is there a hot tub for Darren?
Just a pool's good enough. I mean, I don't know whether it's going to be warm enough to use the pool, but
yeah, if it's snowing,
who knows?
Couldn't count on it.
So looking ahead at Pickvetia, and the next few years, what's your dream? Any new themes, new locations, possible collaborations, any spin-off events, or do you just want to keep doing what you're doing and just keep doing it well?
I think so. I'm working at the moment at something like maybe so we can get sponsored. Like that would be kind of a dream to have sponsoring. So we could also afford different things, or we could even lower the fees or something like this. But yeah, I think that's kind of a dream.
Yeah,
really
I think
difficult.
it would be the best to. And
Excellent.
I think we would just like these last 3 years have been exhausting, just because every year it's new locations, new everything. It's starting all over again. So I think we all agree that like it's gonna be nice to not have as much work to do for the next years, like to at least for the French and the Italian part, we already have like a very solid basis. For the German part, since it was our first edition, there's still a bit of work to do, but I think maybe enjoy the less work to do. We jokingly once said like it would be fun to do Pickvetia on ice, like in the snow, but
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, but it's so many things to think about that. So we would jokingly say that, but I don't think maybe in a few years,
I
but
think maybe
So
maybe an
2020,
event.
it's
29?
mostly a joke that we said
Yeah,
that.
and I think maybe an event on the scale that you currently are in that situation will be very, very difficult to achieve. But maybe a smaller spin-off event, perhaps in the snow, could work well.
Yeah, there
Um,
is always possibilities, but
yeah,
Yeah, because when people picture Switzerland, as you said, they don't picture Switzerland being hot. They picture the mountain and the snow.
absolutely.
And but no,
But,
that would
but also as well, you kind of touched on something there. You know, you look forward to it being a little bit quieter because you know you've sourced and got to know some of the locations in some of the areas now. But I guess a lot of people out there would think, oh, once the event's finished in April, they don't have to worry about anything. But actually, Romy, as you just said, you've been scouting for locations for next year. Like now, it's never ending really throughout probably the 12 months of the year. It's not just a case of, yes, you've got busy periods on the run up to the event and on the applications process, etc. But I guess you're always doing something.
Yes. Yeah, usually what we did like last year for this edition, we said, oh, it would be nice to announce the dates for next year event at the end of our event. So in order to do that, we had to already contact the locations because
Yeah.
we cannot say, oh, let's do this random date. And then we
Exactly.
contact the locations and they
Yeah.
say, oh, no, you can't. And so it's always a cycle where we're getting ready for the Ticino one. So we're already started to prepare the German one. And it's a cycle.
Yes,
It's always like during the summer we do scouting, like IRL scouting. Like we go there because when we go into the places, it's not only to see, oh, it's pretty, but it's the moment where we see, okay, how far is it from the parking lot? Can you do this wearing high heels for your cosplay? Like we sort out the practical stuff. So like this is maybe the team scouting is in the summer, and then we start like mass emailing all the locations, so like to sort things out, because when the application opens like starts, it's we have to know the locations that we're gonna have, because how can people be interested in our event if they don't know what the places are going to be? So it's really a cycle. As you said, there are some moments there we're very busy, some moments we can relax just a bit,
Yes.
but
And
it's
we
a
also
never-ending cycle.
we also need to be a lot in advance, because especially for
Yeah.
those events who take part in June, there are also a lot of weddings, so
Yeah.
locations
Yes.
are not always available.
No, I can imagine.
Mhm.
So here,
Yeah, when we have to contact them almost a year in advance.
yes, yeah. So here's an interesting one for you. I don't know if you'll be able to answer this one or not. As far as you're aware, what's the furthest anyone has traveled to come to Pickvetia?
This year we have somebody from the United States and
Wow.
somebody from Canada.
Wow, nice.
Well,
And
that's amazing.
before that, I think we only had people we have people from Israel last year
Very nice.
who are also joining this year. So I think Israel is the farthest we had so far. And this year we have the like
North Americans, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
amazing.
So
That's really
it's
cool. That's cool that you're getting
is,
that recognition across not just
it's
Europe,
very
but
flattering.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
absolutely.
It's like
How does that make you feel when you're getting that application from and you see someone's come from, I don't know, like Vancouver, Canada or something like that? Like you see that come up and you're like, wow, like, how's that feel from you guys?
I think it's Romina or Alita who saw that and immediately sent it in our Discord, like, hey, look, there's somebody from Canada who's applied.
Yeah, and even the one from the US, I think.
Yeah.
I follow him since long, or her. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
I'm shooting with
I was
them.
like,
I
whoa,
can't wait.
that's so cool.
It's always like you see the thing and you're just like, how did they heard about, and how did
Yeah.
they escape that? which
Yeah.
is just a crazy thing to think because like we're just Switzerland, so how that
Yeah.
spread. No
Mhm.
idea, but it's so cool. It's always so cool how far it goes.
It's very flattering. Like, oh, like these people,
Yeah.
they're gonna pay like $1,000
Yeah.
for the plane, and
But
they
what's the
want to spend $1,000 on the plane to come to our event. It's very nice. I hope they enjoy the event,
And it's probably still
especially.
cheap. And it's probably still cheaper than a hotel for a weekend in the UK.
like,
Yeah.
so what you're saying is next year when you go back to your first location again, it's get people from Australia and New Zealand to come.
Yeah, that's a new
Let's
plan.
hope.
That would be amazing.
I think you talked about goals. Maybe that would be one goal, like have
would be
a
good.
person from each continent to come.
That would be
International.
that would be that would be some
International,
bragging
like,
rights there. That would be some proper bragging rights here. Like we're an event
Yeah.
that's gone global instead of just
Like,
like
yeah.
just Europe.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
brilliant.
Full on international, like
Then
around the world.
Yes.
1,000 application. Yes.
Yeah. Joking.
So looking back to sort of like the cosplay and photography community in Europe, what impact do you think Pickvita has had over the last 3 years, and what impact would you hope that it might have going forwards?
Connecting people. I think that's one of the main impacts we're hoping to have.
Yep.
Because you can collaborate with people you don't usually have the opportunity to
Yes.
collaborate with.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are coming from the US. Of course, you're never
Correct,
going
yeah,
to be
yeah.
each other. So that is, I think, one of the main thing you want with those events is to meet people that you would never meet otherwise.
Absolutely.
And create art, just incredible
Yeah.
pictures. You can see the results
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's one of my main reasons for me applying to events like this, is because it gives me the opportunity to work with people and create amazing art, like you say, that I wouldn't normally get to meet and work with. Which is why quite often well, not all the time, every time I go to a European event, I set myself a goal to work with at least a few cosplayers doing cosplays that are completely out of my comfort zone that I wouldn't normally shoot here in the UK. Because I'm traveling all that way, shooting in these amazing locations with these amazing, talented cosplayers who've put so much work and effort into their outfits that why not? Why shouldn't I push myself out of my comfort zone and really challenge myself? And yeah, just the sheer amount of fantastic people I've met in the last couple of years that I've been coming over to Europe to shoot is just like more than I could ever imagine.
That's for sure. I think that's one of the main thing. And if people can do that and they're happy with it, and then you make contacts as well, you keep those people and you keep talking to them. I've been meeting so many new people going to those photography events, and it's just incredible because then you can exchange, and as well the knowledge. Some people, a photographer from Italy or a photographer from Poland or the US or whatever, it doesn't work always the same way.
No,
It's
no.
there is something different about
There's
working with
often,
someone.
yeah,
that-
I find there's often a very different style between photographers in the UK, photographers in different parts of Europe have different styles as well. Photographers in the US, and it's the same with cosplays as well. Really, there's certain fandoms that are popular throughout, but you definitely tend to see trends in certain parts of the world that some cosplayers um, sort of seem to favor more than other parts of the world, which is really interesting to see as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that is the one most interesting thing you will see popping, and all of this. Then you bring it back to your own country and your own art, and it just improves. You improve yourself no matter what. By attending, you've just experienced something completely new. So you're going to be seeing other cosplayers' quality. You all of a sudden, as a cosplayer, you see another cosplayer, it's just like, wow, I love that. I think it's incredible. I'm going to take that in my future craft. As a photographer, you talk with another photographer from another country. Oh, you do that this way. I think that's incredible. You see some other people, the way they work together. Fantastic.
Yeah,
It's
Absolutely.
the exchange. I think the human connection, the exchange that is creating during this
Definitely.
event is like maybe the thing I cherish the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even if it's quite stressful and you have a lot of slots, I think this dense work, it kind of helps you to develop faster. Because even during an event, sometimes I notice something new. I find a new technique or
Yes.
a new style, something to experiment on.
Yeah. And I think as well that that's quite an interesting topic because the shoot lengths generally at events like this are so long that if you do discover a new technique partway through a shoot or partway through the weekend, once you know you've got a certain amount of shots in the bank from a shoot, you know you can almost afford to try something a bit different. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. You know, we live in a digital age now. If it doesn't work, it's fine. Particularly if we've, we're like an hour into the shoot, we've got a load of content already, and you've got another hour left. You can afford to take a few chances to experiment, really push out your comfort zone, try something that you may have been talking to another photographer about that said, have you tried this? And you've been chatting about different techniques and different styles, and you can almost afford to just take that risk because again, you're in this amazing location. Why not take a bit of a chance? Because it's not like a 2-minute shoot where you're on to one and you're on to the next and you're on to the next. You've got that opportunity really. So I guess really before we go into any questions that we might have from any of our audience base or any questions that you guys might have about anything or that you want to sort of talk about, for anyone listening who's thinking about maybe starting their own, if someone was going to start their own little niche event in a different part of Europe, what would you say to them apart from don't do it?
Run, you fool! No.
What would be the things, what would be the biggest things that you've learned from the last few years of Picvetia?
I would say one important thing is the team you have with you and the capacity. I mean, for us, if we didn't have Romina as a head thinking, that would be hell. She is able to handle so many things, and I think part of what makes Picvetia so great, it's so well organized, is because she has this capacity to oversee everything. So I would say to anyone who's trying to do that, if they don't have that capacity or to surround themselves with people with that capacity, don't do it because you're going to put yourself into a very painful place. For Romina, it's really hard because she needs to trust us, and we trust her so completely, and sometimes it takes so much on. It's so much pressure. So if you're not able to take that pressure on, don't do that event.
Yeah.
It's not.
And as we said earlier as well, your first event is normally what people are going to judge you by the most. If you make some serious fundamental mistakes on your first event, people are going to talk about it. And with so many other events to choose from, there are so many other options that even if you learn from those mistakes the first time, if you make really big fundamental mistakes on your first event without really thinking, it's going to seriously affect your future. Whereas if you put on a fairly decent, well-balanced event the first time round because it was well thought out and well planned, even if, like you guys did in a short period of time, people will generally look at that And even if you do make a few mistakes, but you own up to it and you learn from it, in my experience, people will sort of take that on board and they'll still continue to support you. And that's I think how you guys have grown. I mean, hand on heart, and it's not just because you guys are on the show now, I cannot think personally of any issue or criticism that I could take away from last year. Genuinely. So, you know, and I generally judge events quite harshly because I arrange events myself. So yeah, like hats off to you guys. The sheer amount of effort that you guys put into this event is a credit to you all, seriously.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I mean, I'm sorry, yeah,
Go on, Tom.
going into this is just like, now that you've kind of done this sort of full circle over the last few years, now going back to the location, well, roughly the same location you went to for the very first Pickvita, sort of, what are you looking forward to the most now, kind of, now that you've done this one cycle of your events, going back to almost like the start of it all again, are you looking forward to the most?
Not having to do the templates of all the emails again.
Yes.
All of those weird things you don't know.
Yeah.
At first, you have to you don't really know how to write the things or ask the things.
Hmm.
But now that we have a bit of that experience, that just removes quite a lot of pressure as well. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, we have emails,
And
stuff that works.
yeah.
You can always,
Not ha-
there is always
Even if we have new locations to contact, now we have experience, we have data,
Yes.
we have
Yeah.
we can show them we are at a good
Yeah.
event, we have connections already, we have experience with churches, with villas, with everything.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
have portfolio to show to them. It's much
Yeah.
easier like
And I
this.
guess as
Yeah.
well, you kind of
And-
like, the more times you do this, the more experience you gain in how to approach certain types of venues, because
Yeah.
you will have used approaches in the past that just got a blanket no. And you're like, okay, that didn't work. And then you'll approach another one in a different way, and you sort of learn sort of maybe what they're looking for as well as what you're looking for. So you learn to sort of go in with the right things, because sometimes you can perhaps go in and say, oh, we want to do this, but you know what you want to do is within the boundaries of what they would normally let you. But if you lead with the wrong information, then I guess it's kind of game over straight away. So I guess having that experience now, even for new locations and venues, you know how to lead. And you've got, like you say, you've got all the facts and data, the portfolio, the images to show people to go, well, actually, no, this is the kind of things that we do, which kind of puts their mind at rest.
Yeah, that I think I'm speaking for myself there, but I do think that's a whole team thing. It's when you don't have to think again about all of those tiny details on how you're gonna be perceived, or it takes the pressure a bit away, because at first
Yeah, I
when you
bet.
said just you don't know how it's going to be received, because it's a weird thing we do. If we have to, from an outside perspective, it is not that common. So you have to explain, look, we're going to be costumed in your establishment. What do you think about that? So when you have that because we made our templates, we have our things and how to ask, that now we know that this is well received. We can, it makes the process just smoother. You just can go and you translate it in another language, you just double check. Afterwards, the discussion is still, you have to explain if it's a new place, but the first contact, that is so much better. When you have something that works, it's so much better.
Yeah. I can't wait for the French part. I was the one doing all the phone calls. And when we send all the emails, I have like 2 weeks where people keep calling me like, hi, I'm the castle, I am the villa, I am the other castle, I am the other castle. And everyone has the same questions. Like, most of the time people call me and they're like, I don't understand what you mean. And like, everything is written in in the email. My brother in Christ, everything is well written. The email are long like this. and I have to explain everything over again. And no, there won't be 400 people at the location at the same time. It's I can't wait to just like call and be like, hey, remember us from 3 years ago? Remember when we said we're coming back in 3 years? We're
Yeah.
coming back. Is it all right? It's all right. Perfect thing. I can't wait for
Exactly.
that. And not
Exactly.
having to explain everything all over again to 30, 40 locations.
Yeah.
Most of the
Yeah.
time, because sometimes I spend like 30 minutes on the phone explaining everything thoroughly, like every detail, like answering all the questions for them to be like, oh, but no, we
So,
don't want
so in
that.
Europe, when you're approaching a new venue or location in Europe, do you find that they know what cosplay is generally, or do you kind of have to explain that?
No.
Same here.
No, we say it's costumes
Yeah.
Costume
Yeah.
maker.
because costume maker, because that they
Yes.
can mostly understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because,
Yeah. I
yeah,
think we have the
especially
same thing here.
yeah, especially
Yeah.
for cosplay, some people might they might group that with kids and
Yes.
inappropriate or
Yeah.
unserious
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
Or
and sometimes
they might just link it to cosplay Comic-Con, and it's like, no, we're not like that. You know,
Yeah.
it's
exactly. So costume making, it makes it, because we have pure costume makers as well sometimes that apply. So that makes it makes it a bit more legit.
yeah,
Still
definitely.
a thing, but it makes
Yeah.
it a bit legit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for anyone that might be looking to apply to Pickvita in the future, what would be the one tip, either photographer or cosplayer, that you would give them if they're starting to think now that they might want to apply to next year? What's the one tip that you would give them?
Put all your pictures together and have a look at them together. Do that is what you offer wide enough? That does it give enough of your poses, your face, especially if you're a cosplayer? Is your face changing enough? Is your pose giving the whole range of what you can do? For a photographer, does it show your style? Is it consistent? Because that's one thing we did realize in some of the applications.
Mm-hmm.
Consistent. We put the photography together, and some of them are gorgeous, and some are a bit underneath.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you put them all together, then can you see the style of that person?
Yeah. Do
Like,
they all look like they're from the same person, or do three
exactly
look
that.
like they're from one person, three look like they're from another, although they're from the same person?
Yeah, ask as well. Sometimes it's great to ask the people around you, because sometimes you're gonna choose the pictures that you think, as a cosplayer, you think you look good on, but on a post-term point of view, it's not the best for you to showcase what you can
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
As a photographer, you're gonna choose one picture that might speak
Might
to
mean
you, but
something to you. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly that. So have
Yeah.
an external
Exactly.
opinion, put everything together. I think putting together everything is one of the main things, because we forget. We look at the pictures individually, but sorry, someone is knocking at the door. Coming back.
No problem. No, that's some really great points, actually. Yeah, I mean, consistency, I think, is key for both sides, really. You know, do you have a consistent quality throughout? Yeah, great advice.
Yeah, I think diversity is a strong point to show that you can, like for photographers, that they can adapt to different types of cosplayers.
Yes.
Because if you're shooting only like Disney princesses, like, and even if all the pictures are gorgeous, it shows that okay, you're doing perfect with one type
Yeah.
of thing,
Yeah.
but maybe they are all doing the same pose.
Yeah.
So even if we're not judging the cosplayer in per se, it shows that okay, you're very comfortable with maybe only one thing, or at
Yes.
least
Yes.
it's what the photographer is showing us. Because maybe that's absolutely not the case, but since we don't go on Instagram to see the rest, it's like
Exactly.
to showcase
Yeah.
diversity, and the same goes for cosplayers.
Yeah.
Not meaning that you have to cosplay a princess and you have to cosplay something cyberpunk,
Yes.
something like,
Yeah.
but show that you are
Yes.
able to pose differently and everything.
Yeah,
Another
almost
thing,
pretend that your social media doesn't exist, and that
Exactly.
portfolio is the snapshot of you and your
Mhm.
style and your photography or of your cosplay. It's almost like your creative CV, if you like.
Exactly.
You know, this is who I am. This is what I'm about, and this is what I can do. And I think if it shows, like you say, the consistency and quality, the diversity to show that you can work in different scenarios, in different styles, then it potentially shows that if something goes wrong on a shoot and all of a sudden you need to adapt, that you will be able to do that, I think is also probably quite important. And I think someone showing enough consistency in quality, but also a good diversity potentially shows that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
another thing too, I recommend is to check if you really have time during the time the event
Yes,
is,
that's a
because even
great
if you're
point.
not sure if you get accepted or not, you still need to be prepared for being accepted.
Exactly. I mean, somebody said to me recently, they were looking to apply to one of the European events. It wasn't Pickvita, it was another event. And they were like, "Oh, I'm just going to apply just to see if I'll get accepted. I don't know whether I'm going to go or not. I don't know if I've got the time." The first thing I said to them was, apply with the full intent to go. If you are going to apply, then apply because you want to go and you can go, and apply almost not expecting to get accepted, but you need to plan for that. Because if you do and you get accepted, then the implications of you saying, "Oh, actually, no, I'm not going to go now," especially as a photographer, like it might affect like 20 people throughout the weekend, which is
It's not even just that. It's also the guys or the girls that are here now who are, you know, making
going
that
through the
decision,
process.
then going, "Oh, actually, I
Exactly.
really like that person. I want them to come to our event and do these sort of things." And they turn around and go, "Oh, actually, I just wanted to see if I was going to get in.
Yeah.
I'm not actually going to come." That in
Yeah.
some ways, it's
Exactly.
a bit of a waste of your guys' time trying to even,
Yes.
review that person in the first place if
Totally.
they're not going to come. And
Totally. I mean, at the same time, I get that, life happens. If you apply with full intent to go, I want to go, I'm going to go, this, that, and the other, and then all of a sudden something happens in life and you have to drop out. I get that. It happens for all of us, unexpected things. And I'm sure you guys as event organizers take those kind of things into consideration. However, I'm also sure if you get the feeling that someone's just dropping out because they had no intention to go in the first place, even after you've accepted them, that's got to have a negative effect on them should they apply in the future. It certainly would for me if I was reviewing people's applications for an event like this, because they're just wasting everybody's time, your time, the people that arrange shoot with them, that have then got to find new shoots. I just don't see the point personally.
It's disrespectful. If you
Absolutely.
do, like, if you apply to an event with the intention just to check, like, we're not judging you for the hell. Like, it's fun to judge people when spend 3 weeks of all my evenings doing that. And I mean, if you want to get a feedback, ask your friends.
Exactly.
If you're a cosplayer, go do a
Exactly.
contest and ask for a feedback for by the
If you're a
judges.
photographer and you want feedback, join a camera club.
Exactly. You just
If you want to see if your image or image style is any good, enter some competitions. Don't apply for a cosplay photo convention
no,
I,
where
you're
people are
just wasting.
spending like tons
Yeah.
of time on assessing your application
I suppose in the
without the
context
intention to go.
I suppose in the context of what we're saying here as well is, and obviously I don't mean to talk on behalf of the guys that were at Pickvita, is like just because someone got a no is not a reflection of someone's
Exactly.
work.
Yeah. Yes.
So just
Exactly.
because you got a no doesn't mean that you're not good enough to attend. It's just that
And just because you got a yes doesn't mean you're better than anybody else.
no, and it's
Yes.
just
Exactly that.
it's the thing that's just got to remember. If you want that criticism, you want that feedback, like Darren said, join a camera club. They'll do that, or a
Mhm.
cosplay community club and stuff like that. trying to do it through these events because, like the girls said on the team here, is like there's so many people that apply to these events, you just can't give
Totally.
feedback to
Exactly.
every single
Yeah.
person that applies to these events. So yeah, let's just keep that in mind. It's not a negative thing that just because you didn't get accepted or you
No,
do get
absolutely
accepted,
not.
that it's a negative. It's just obviously you have your restrictions in place because of numbers. Which is obviously fair play. So you've got to You've got to shift between photographers, cosplayers, and assistants, haven't you?
Bear in mind, for us, the most important with Pickvetia at least is to give the better quality we can. So people that apply and don't respect the basic rules of respecting the people that select them, the participants or other contestants, things like that. You can't give that the basic minimum. We are going to be, we will remember you. We remember, and
Exactly.
cosplay
Yeah,
community
of course
is
you
very
do.
small.
Yeah.
Your act have consequences. You can do whatever you want in the end. That's a normal thing. We will never judge someone who's going to apply and they have something bad happening and they have to
Yes,
drop.
exactly.
That happens. That's life. But if you take that as a joke and you just apply and say like, you know what? I've applied to another covenant. I don't want to go to both.
Exactly.
Okay, sure, do that. Just
Which I think
we
also ties into something that Romy said earlier, in that, you know, take into consideration how much time and effort these events take out of you, and don't, you know, you plan, like, you apply and get accepted for like however many. You do 2 in a year, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, no, this is taking too much out of me. I can't do anymore. And then you drop out of 2 events. It's, it has consequences. It has effects. Um, if all of a sudden something happens, like you lose your job or somebody in the family passes away, general life things, that happens, and events will take that into account. But just by applying through poor planning, and then dropping out because, oh, actually, you overcommitted this year, or you just wanted to see if you could get accepted or not as an ego boost, that just doesn't cut it for me.
yeah, have
And
severe
nobody should be doing that.
yeah.
Plus, as Switch said, like it's not that if you didn't get in, it's not that you're bad or
Precisely.
like really not. And if you apply just to see if you get in, and then you get in, and you're like, oh no, don't want to go. You're taking a spot from somebody who
Who could have
deserves it as well.
exactly?
I mean,
Like,
I'll take it.
No, you won't. You
you're
might.
getting married. You don't have the time to edit pictures. So.
Come in anyway. It doesn't matter.
No, but really, it's and yeah, there's so many people who like. I mean, we had almost 600 applications, and we didn't even choose we choose a third out
Yeah,
of them.
about a third. Yeah.
Barely. It doesn't mean that 2/3 of the people who applied are bad.
No,
Like
exactly.
it wouldn't make much sense.
Far from it.
Like it's really not
We
how things are. Right? We already talked about this time and the other time.
Correct.
It's really not that, and I know it's hard not to take it personally when you receive a no, but yeah, it's so when you apply for as a joke, you're taking time, you're wasting everybody's time, like everybody literally, and you're taking space from you're taking a place that could be for somebody who really has the
Deserves it.
intention to go but
Yeah,
couldn't.
but also I think you're not being true to yourself. You're giving yourself false ego boosts for something that just really isn't warranted. You're applying to see if you'll get accepted. Yeah, okay, great. But now you've done that and you've gone about it that way, you might not be accepted next year when you can go. So
Well,
just save it till next year.
I suppose the real test when it comes around to it is actually what you do whilst you're at the event. You know, it's like,
Correct.
how are you going to utilize the stunning locations that you're at? How are you going to work with the models? How are you going to portray yourself? Obviously, I'm talking more on a photographer's point of view, but like, how are you going to portray yourself at these events, and how are you going to really push your work to prove that you
Yeah,
belong at something like this?
exactly.
And vice versa for cosplayers, you know, it's like you're going to
I mean,
bring a certain level to it.
the first European event I was accepted to was Volta in 2024, and I genuinely feel that I was just lucky to get in. But then I feel that the work I did there really helped me to get into future European events. And then I feel that because I kind of like lean then into the venues and the styles, it kind of just goes from there. But you know, that's not to say that you have to do a European event to get into a European event, because I got into my first one having never shot with anyone in Europe. But I think it does generally give you that opportunity then um to just run with it. And anyone that just squanders that and applies for the sake of it, but then doesn't have any intention to really capitalize on it and use it to the best of their advantage is just really selling themselves short, I think.
Yeah, it's part for them. It's part of the event. Nobody's winning anything out of
No,
that.
precisely. Precisely.
And of course, I mean, it ties back to what we were saying before, is by applying to those, you're just making yourself a favor to just try, because nobody's perfect ever.
No.
Just giving yourself the opportunity to bring a new tool into your toolbox, into your capacities, into your craft. So it's only positive. Do that, even if it's okay. You can apply and think you're never going to go through, and you just go through. That can happen, and it's like, oh, fantastic. And sometimes you can try and get a no, and it's just okay. Well, what can I do to do the next year or to
Exactly.
improve?
Exactly.
I think that's part of what we would obviously conversation piece from this episode is purely to talk about obviously how you guys are behind the scenes, but not also just that, but also giving advice to cosplayers and photographers on future events, to seeing how they can evolve to be able to sort of kind of hone their craft essentially, and really sort of like, right, I'm going to make it a goal. I want to get into Pickvita 2027. Right. What do I need to do? Okay. It might not have been accepted for 26. Right. This is roughly what they're looking for. But obviously, like Darren and other guys here said earlier, was actually look at what's being produced as a collaboration piece on the Pickvita Instagram and stuff like that, and seeing what's there. But that is a massive indication. And this kind of leads into something that I wanted to ask. And this is a question I've kind of had from cosplayers in the UK. And these are cosplayers that feel like they're not, I'm trying to think of the right word, who aren't feeling like they are of the right level of cosplay, but love the idea of a photocon, especially within the European scene, love the work that is coming out of there. What sort of thing from a cosplayer, from a beginner's perspective, can get them recognized, and what can they start sort of looking at before applying for a future event to support them? And I know we've touched basis on this already within the conversation.
That's a good question, though. That's a good question.
And it's a tricky one, though.
It is a
I was
tricky
about
one.
to say it's a
Yeah,
tricky
it's
one.
a tricky
It's a
one.
very
Yeah,
tricky one, because
I guess there's no kind of one fits all answer.
no, and we can't say to beginners, of course you're gonna get in.
Yeah,
If your craft
course
is
not.
not good,
Exactly.
you're not gonna get in. I mean, because
Yeah.
that would be a lie. Yes, no, sure, you find no. If you're not good, you're not getting it. That's a fact. However, if you have a simple cosplay that is well made and you work yourself on your posing, on your makeup, I think you can get in anyway. You don't need to have gorgeous, fantastic, massive pieces of cosplay to get in. We have people that buy their cosplay. They can get in as well. But you can you can work on your own crafts on how you pose. If you take selfies, self pictures, there is plenty of ways to improve your own work. And you don't have to be internationally good cosplay level to get into those photocons. This is why we allow both cosplays, to allow to people that don't have the swing technique get in as well because they want to pose. But you need to be good at posing. That there is posing, makeup, or cosplay. You need one of the three. You can't.
Yeah.
There is no chances to get in otherwise. And this is can't just sugarcoat it. That's a fact.
No.
And
But
as
also
they
as
say,
well,
practice makes perfect.
Exactly that.
And the thing is with beginner cosplayers who begin, it's usually they don't have much experience with photo shootings. Like they can have the cosplays because that you can practice in your room with your own machine and stuff. You can buy cosplays online, but what I notice is that more often than not, the problem, and once again, problem, it's that they don't have as much practice as with posing. And you don't need to have professional pictures that you paid 500 to have made like of yourself, but just to step outside of the comfort zone, maybe even like with your friends and a phone, go take pictures in the wild, like go to a forest and practice posing, practice interacting with the environment. Like even if the phones nowadays can do like very good pictures, of
Fantastic,
course,
yeah.
not as well as a camera.
Thank you.
Photographers, don't come at me.
It's just
But
the
I
button.
mean,
Come on, it's just pushing a button. Doesn't need that much.
no, I just need to do this and it's done.
I was going to say,
of
were
course.
you in my close stories last night of a video that I posted?
No, but like talking to cosplayers beginners, like practice.
Yeah.
Like go take pictures with your friends and your phone, and then try to look around if there are professional photographers or even like photographers who take pictures at conventions and try to approach them.
I think
mainstream
the main
conventions
point.
can be a great. Sorry, Romy, you go.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because the main point is often people think they need to go to a photo event to get those good photos taken. So they don't really see a possibility anymore besides the event to build up a portfolio. And then they're very frustrated they don't get taken because they think it's the only possibility. But it's kind of funny because I started photography also without those photo events, and you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to look at my my first the portfolio I submitted when I first got applied to Volta, and I think it's most of that was probably shot at mainstream conventions.
Well, that was the thing for me when I applied for Pickvita, is I had images that I only shot from either conventions or SecretCon. And I actually sat when we were talking the last time, and I actually had my portfolio up on the screen, and I was just like, we're about to go to MCM, I think, in London, not long after we did the episode. I took some of the advice that basically, and this is me coming as a photographer from listening to my own podcast, was actually some of the advice that came from that. And I actually produced some more of my actual better work after that conversation that we all had last time based off it. And I went, if I had probably submitted some of that stuff that I put in, it might have been a completely different conversational piece. And that's the fun. I could only submit what I had at the time and did.
Well, looking at my Volta 2024 submissions, 60% of what I submitted was shot at mainstream conventions in the UK. Now, I do tend to shoot a little bit differently than most people at mainstream conventions, in that I always try and make the shots look like they're not shot at a mainstream convention. But still, they were still shot. You can shoot creatively if you want to at mainstream cons, and it is also a great place, particularly if you're a cosplayer, that isn't used to working with photographers, it is a great place to meet photographers. And from there, you can then network with people, chat with people, and decide who you might want to work with to get some shots outside of a convention to then maybe get those better photos and further work on your posing, you know, and your general just getting used to working with a photographer, you know, having them direct you in a pose, you know, having them light you, having them put you in a certain location, just working generally with the locations. Because again, you know, you guys provide such fantastic locations, you know, that I'm sure you want to see that people can work with that. It's no good if everyone is just going and taking like a waist up shot against a brick wall. That's, you know, what's the point in you guys spending all this time to provide these beautiful locations? Whereas if you're, you know, producing more of a sort of lifestyle shot where you're using the location as almost a person in the shot, you know, it's an integral part of the shot, then obviously that's going to stand you in much more stead of being able to get in. If you can use that location properly, you can light it well. And the same with a cosplayer as well, I guess, is that it's not just a case of standing there. You've got to be able to utilize the location around you and make it fit the cosplay that you're wearing. It's, you know, it's no good standing there in a cyberpunk cosplay in the center of a grand hall of a castle. It just doesn't fit. You've got to kind of make it fit the surroundings and make it work with what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it's that, and it's. I think there is no secret. You won't get good at something by sitting and waiting for things to come to you. You have to get outside and out there and connect with
Exactly.
people and talk and get rejected a couple of times sometimes,
Yeah.
because that's going. You're never going to be good straight away. You have to pass through those steps of feeling that you're not good enough, but that this feeling of not good enough is what feeds you to be better. We all started, and I think if I look at the first portfolio ever that I submitted to one of those cons, it was Pixelmania for me, was the first one. It was on pictures I took with two friends that were barely starting photography as well, and just started and tested and more and more. After that, because you start working with more people, you understand,
Yes.
okay, as a cosplayer, if I do that or that, that's going to change for the person in front of me.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
all the fashion poses,
you
all
touch
of
on a
this.
very good point there in that, again, something else I say to people, you know, quite a few friends have said to me, I really want to go to such and such event, but I don't think I'm good enough, blah, blah, blah. And I say to them, look at your portfolio, look at all of your images. If you think you can put together enough of a decent selection, just learning the application process, even if you don't think you're going to get in, if you are committed to going, if you apply, there is nothing wrong with applying, because the application process in itself is an experience. And yes, okay, you might get rejected, but also you might get accepted. I've had two friends today. One messaged me to say he's been accepted into Pixelmania. Really didn't think he would be, because he'd been rejected by a couple of other European events. And I kept saying to him, just keep applying, keep working on yourself, keep working on you, and keep applying. Don't get discouraged. And he didn't, and he applied, and this time he got accepted for Pixelmania. Someone else has been accepted for another European event that announced in the last couple of days, and he really didn't think he would get accepted, but he applied with the intent that he's going. And I think that is much better than what we were talking about earlier, than people that have got a good portfolio that apply with no intent to go. What I'm trying to say is just the application process, submitting that form, choosing your images, I think is a really vital process for both cosplayers and photographers.
It's a very testing process as well.
It
It's
is,
like
because you
not
might
for
shoot
even
like tons of images, and you've got to choose which ones best represent yourself.
That was the thing. I
And
think
that's
the
tough.
hardest thing from my point of view as a photographer was it's selecting what I felt was good enough for an entry into an event. But obviously, the photos that I submit have a different meaning to myself versus what yourselves as judges would think of seeing.
Exactly.
It's trying to take away that established that point of view of going, oh, what are the judges wanting to see? But it's like, well, what from my point of view is the best. It's like just because you don't get in first time doesn't mean it's wrong. You know, we're in a community that is essentially the more you do, the better. You know, more you put into it, the more you will succeed, and you will learn and adapt and change. And I feel that is a brilliant. But I was like, as much as like a yes would be great, sometimes a no can just be just as powerful as well. Because you know, if you're determined and you're dedicated enough, you could turn around and go, okay, it's no this time. I'm making it my goal. I'm going to get into that
Exactly.
because I want to
But
go. Yeah, go ahead.
there's a thing that we say in the cosplay contest that you can only, but even that can be applied to everything in life. You can only control what you're doing. You can have the best sewing skills. You can have, like, you can, you know that you did your best, but sometimes you don't know, like, you don't know who the other people are. Like, you can only control yourself. You can only control your own portfolio, but you cannot. You don't have the. Yeah, you can control what the other, like, who are gonna be the people in front of you, like who is the competition in front of you. You can only know that, like, I did my best. I know that I did my best. This time it did not pass, and maybe with a portfolio that did not, like, with the same portfolio can enter, like, you can enter in one event, or you can place in one competition, and sometimes it will not pass, even with the same pictures. Like, you cannot control the other people who will apply as well.
Very true.
And I wanted to circle back to a point that Ailita said before, when you said that your first portfolio, you had, like, your costumes, but the pictures were very amateur because your friends were starting photography. And this is something that we, like, when we say that we analyzed each portfolio, like, we sometimes see people that have, like, wonderful costumes, like the cosplayers that have, like, very good posing, very good makeup skills, crafting and everything, but the pictures are not so great because they didn't have the occasion to work with photographers that could make them les mettre en valeur,
make them up, like.
Yeah, exactly. They could elevate them. And on the reverse, sometimes we have very beautiful pictures. When we see the picture, we're like, oh, wow. And then you go, like, from photographers, and then you zoom in, and the cosplay is not so great.
Yes.
And we, like, we see that. Like, we see, okay, like, the photographer did a really good job here. And unfortunately, the cosplayers did not match the level. But that's okay, because these are the kind of people we say, oh, we want them especially to get in, because they could benefit from working with people who have, like, the same level, like, who could match, like, the cosplayers,
Exactly.
the photographers to have, like, beautiful pictures, and the photographers to have high quality models. And so this is something like, when I say take pictures with your iPhone, if you don't have the occasion to work with photographers, if your costume is great, if your posing is all right, you could benefit from working with people who have a camera and have, like, real skills behind everything.
Essentially, you judge the photographers on the photography, not the cosplayer.
Exactly, yeah.
And you judge the cosplayers on the cosplay, and not the end result of the photograph, which is a fantastic
it
way of
doesn't
doing
matter if you don't work with professional cosplayers or if you don't work with professional photographers.
Yeah.
Because we can see that looking
give
at the
people that
pictures, zooming in.
Yeah. A good cosplay, we can tell, and I can 100% say that you can tell on a picture if a cosplay is.
And that's the experience, the wide range of experience that you guys have when you're judging.
exactly that. So sometimes, we have those cosplayers applying with pictures, and you're just like, oh, but we need them in our event because they're going to bring the quality working with quality photographers and amazing pictures. Yeah.
So kind of jumping a little bit back to sort of like a cosplayer perspective is like, if a cosplayer is looking at doing an event, what sort of key tips would you advise them to sort of, what I'm trying to say is if they're wanting to apply, what sort of tips between now and say the next one would you say to them do? Like, look at sort of building a portfolio in regards to sort of posing ideas. Hang on, the portfolio isn't the right word. As in like a mood board, so that they can kind of start practicing different style of posing versus bits and pieces to try and capture them different genres to start practicing that. Is that sort of some key sort of stuff that needs to sort of happen, or
For
what?
them to improve their application, you say?
Yeah, kind of like what gives someone who is looking to apply the if they're trying to to try and do over the next year or something like that, if they're new and establishing, what sort of things would benefit them in the
I would
process?
say the things, because uh, again, you can work as Julie was saying. You can only work on yourself, so you can work on your makeup, on how to apply the makeup to catch the light. You can work on your angles, on your poses, on your costume, because we're going to focus on that. Don't focus that much on the quality picture and having a professional one taken. Focus more on what you are telling with your own body and costume, which is the most important
Makes
thing.
sense.
And remember again, if you might have an amazing thing, if in front of you there are 3,000 other people that have more, it's not a failing, it's just because you
Yeah.
have more people in front. So just
Fair.
keep applying, keep trying, because at least I can say that I've seen people trying multiple times to pick this year.
Yeah.
I recognize
Yeah.
the names.
Yeah.
And I do see an improvement already. Sometimes it's a pain, and it breaks my heart because the quality is
Yes.
there,
Yeah.
just not reach the amount of points to
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah.
Other people were better, but you can see they're so close, and you just want to want
Yeah.
to message them like, don't give up, just keep going. You
Yeah.
will get
Yeah.
in. Keep
That's fair.
going. That's the main
So-
advice we can give cosplayer.
So, Tom, do we have any questions from our viewers, or have we not had any through?
We've had one, but we've probably answered a lot of this throughout the conversation.
right.
Vander.cosplay, how does one stand out during the application process, crafting, acting, and something to do with characters? So
Yeah, I think we
we've
have
kind
probably
of
answered that in a
we've-
lot of our other sections, to be fair.
we have throughout this
talked a lot.
episode, we have seriously hit that, and I think even when we're conversations around sort of establishing cosplayers, we've really kind of hit that note there.
Definitely.
So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah,
so
I'm
I
sure it does.
don't want to get the team here now going, yeah, extra after we've just talked about it for so long. I think for the last
I think we'll wrap that up pretty
wrap
much.
that up there. Yeah, I think if there's any questions from you guys there before we finish, I think that's about it, really.
Excellent.
Right.
Well, thank you all so much for coming on. It's been fantastic talking with you all both. Even after attending multiple events throughout Europe and Pickvita last year, even I've learned some new things tonight. So, I hope our viewers and audience have also learned something as well. For one last time, if you would all like to introduce yourselves and just tell the viewers where they can find your own personal profiles as cosplayers or photographers online, and then we can close out the episode.
Same order. You go.
Whatever order you want.
I
Why not?
Thank you so much for having us. It's been
You're
a
welcome.
pleasure. can't wait to see y'all and shoot together at Picvetia in
Definitely.
2 months. 2 months.
Wow, 2 months.
Oh,
God. So much to happen between now and then.
Oof. That was a bad realization.
Good luck,
Wow.
guys. Good luck for that one.
Thank you. So you can find us on Pickvetia on Instagram. Just Pickvetia, I think it's gonna be written. It's written here actually.
Yeah,
Pickvetia.
cross the chest.
And I'm Julie, and I think it's gonna be written somewhere. So yeah,
We will.
thank you so
We'll
much.
pop
down
everyone's
below.
links
Yeah,
in the
it's just like here.
in the links. Yeah.
So you can put it where you want.
It's out
Alita?
of you to you know.
Yeah. I don't know who was before.
But thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It
You're
was
welcome.
very nice to talk, to answer the questions, and I hope this did help people to understand a bit more, because we really want to have people happy and understanding how it
Yeah,
works.
I'm sure.
And I'm Ailita, so you probably have the names there somewhere. You can find there or around.
Share everywhere.
But actually,
Yeah, so also thank you for listening for so long. And yeah, I really hope this episode did help you in any way, for maybe you will apply to Picvetia in the future. And I am Romaili. You can see my name here or here.
Yeah. Thanks, you're gonna give me some editing of like just bounce names here, there, and everywhere now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just bounce around the screen like in a circle or something. It's fine.
But yeah. Okay.
Right, Thomas, you want to close us out? Why not?
Yeah, so this has been an amazing episode. Thank you very much to our special guests this week from Pickvita. We look forward to seeing you, as we've been reminded, in a couple of months' time. Myself and Darren will be attending. Darren is a photographer, me as a lonely assistant standing in a waterfall.
Hey, assistants are the most important part for me.
Exactly.
Let's
Remember
shout
that,
out
right?
the assistant.
We're important.
You're the backbone of the event.
Exactly. But no, I want to say thank you very much for the guys coming on to the show this week, this month, to talk about their amazing venue. So yes, so look forward to seeing more of this sort of stuff coming out. I know myself and Darren are going to try our best to do a documentary style thing whilst at Pickvita as well, which is going to challenge the living hell out of me from an editing point of view. I'm a photographer, not a videographer. Anyhow, with that said, you can find Cosplay Togs and All Things Nerdy on most social media platforms under Cosplay Togs and All Things Nerdy. You have everyone else's social media platforms. I have been Switch. This has been iPhoto UK. And thank you very much for listening. Till next time.
thank you.
Take care.
Thank
you.
you.
Hey guys.
Bye.
Bye.